how to create like your online virtual product and even make money online right now, then I'd love to help you through that journey as well.
To all the staff from Speakers Institute, you guys have been really supportive and really, really lovely and encouraging. But to everybody else, for all of your honesty and your courage for stepping up here and just giving all, because I've learned so much from every single one of you and it's just been really, really good.
I just wanted to say, being out of the workforce for 6 years, looking after little kids, and this is the first course I've ever done, and it was astounding. It blew my mind. It was beyond my expectations, and thank you, Kate, for the feedback today. That was brilliant, and it's given me the confidence to back myself, because I didn't have that before, because you know, when you leave for a while and you come back, it's all a bit dodgy. So thank you.
Sam, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That has been absolutely awesome. I've learned a hell of a lot today, and I really feel like we're all improving. So thank you so much. It's been really awesome.
I wish everyone all the best on the course. I think it was a wonderful course. And Sam, you've created an amazing business, but I also want to congratulate the people you've got working underneath you, because it wouldn't be that great if you didn't have all this wonderful resource. And I congratulate them for supporting you. It's excellent.
I'd actually just like to thank Sam and the team so much for everything you've done, but I'd really like to thank everybody else. I have learnt so much from all of you. It's just been so exhilarating. I'm so excited for each and every one of you, because it's just, the growth in such a short space of time has been phenomenal. So thank you all very, very much.
So I want to say, look, I've forever been doing courses and programs. I've probably spent over $350,000 in my life. This was worth every cent. I'm very, very impressed with the level of knowledge of the coaches. And they just kept offering gold nugget after gold nugget. Definitely was worth every minute as well. So thanks.
Hi guys, I just wanted to say my work relies on face-to-face workshops, speaking at conferences around the world. So investing in this course is really about looking to the future. So it's really an investment in the long term. It's been a really, really professionally put together course. So commendations all round to all of you.
From the age of 9 years old, I have been fascinated with success. The day I left school, I could not read, spell or write. I had no idea what I wanted to be or could be. All I did know was I had a burning desire to create success. Or how to achieve it. My only option was to get a job at McDonald's. For 18 years, my desired success mission was to own my own McDonald's stores. For me to achieve this, I needed to be an outstanding performer and create wealth of over $1 million, debt-free. I achieved my desired success mission 3 years ago. I currently own 2 McDonald's stores that produce over $8 million in revenue per annum. For many years, I have had a deep sense that my story, message and knowledge was meant to be heard by more than just the people within my life. I knew I had to find the right person to help me achieve this mission. Sam showed me the power of stories, the ability to be more vulnerable, and most of all, how to systemize 20 years of leadership, business, and success knowledge. If you have a story, message, or knowledge that you want to share and add value to people, Sam is your man.
Hey guys, Sam Cawthorne here, CEO and founder of Speakers TV. Lean in where you can, give us any level of feedback, and we are really excited about your success. And don't forget, the best is yet to come.
The discussion about dying should start early, and as we know all of our loved ones, we should start initiating such conversations, because when you see the mindset early, it won't be so difficult to have that conversation when they are really facing death. and it involves a whole community to start and to spark out conversations, and only then can more intervention come in to talk about it.
I was just a curious person that is really uncomfortable with public speaking. So I came to bootcamp and I learned how to influence through communication. What I love about bootcamp, I loved the networking and meeting all these people from various walks of life, and how I feel like we have made a good friendship.
You won us over. You're so good at winning in a short period of time. You're actually really good at that. You're about to go into a brand new season where you're going to be more braver than any other time. You're going to be more courageous than any other time. You're going to stand up for the people that are less fortunate. You're going to be a strong voice out there for the people that are voiceless.
My takeaway would be that there are many people like me out there uncomfortable with public speaking, and there will be a group of people who are enabled and empowered to be able to do public speaking just through having attended bootcamp.
Hey guys, Sam Cawthorne here, CEO and founder of Speakers TV, and wherever you are in the world, we're so glad that you've tuned in to this episode here on Thursday. We have brought to you some of the best speakers in the world, and I'm super excited that you made the decision to tune in. And in this episode, we've actually brought to you some of the best speakers in the world to really help you to learn this as your powerful instrument to get your voice out in the world. And if you don't know what your message is, you don't know what your story is, then you have tuned in to the right TV show. And so here at Speakers TV, we've got an amazing collection of testimonials of people sharing their best practice, but I know that you'll get an amazing value from this episode. Welcome to Speakers TV.
So have we got a treat for you this afternoon? There are 3 speakers that are about to inspire you and take you through a journey. Our first speaker is Australian Entrepreneur of the Year twice. He has been the runner-up of the International Entrepreneur of the Year. He is also the founder Retailer of the Year. Now, this guy is out of this world. A really good friend of Sam's for over the last 10 years, but he's been doing life with them. He's just an amazing keynote speaker. He's someone that if I was to grow up to be, I want to be like him. So on that note, please welcome to the stage, Brad Smith.
Well, thank you guys for having me here. You know, I'm here because 10 years ago, I got a phone call from some crazy guy who had a strange walk and a very loud voice. And he said, I want to go on tour. And Sam had just done a tour of Tasmania, speaking around at all the schools in Tassie. And he rang me up and said that he wanted to do another lap. And he asked if I'd come with him. And at the time, I definitely hadn't done much speaking. You know, if I got an award at school, I'd pretend that I wasn't there type thing. So Sam believed in me and asked me to come on this tour with him. And he said, Brad, if you could talk to the kids about getting a clean adrenaline rush, you know, and being safe, like that type of thing as young people, that'd be awesome. So, you know, I did all my prep and got ready and, you know, spent the weeks getting excited for Sam and Brad to tour together. It'd be heaps of fun, and I knew that I'd grow a lot. And I'd also organised to take some bikes, because, you know, Sam is not going to do anything normal. He said, take some bikes and we'll do some tricks and we'll, you know, pump the kids up and get their attention, and then we'll speak. So, you know, I had the vans loaded, the bikes ready, everything. Except on the Sunday before we were going to start, I had a race. And I crashed and I broke my leg. So I remember just being in hospital on the bed and the guys plastering up my leg while I'm on the phone to Sam to say, can I still do this safety course, this safety talk while I'm on crutches? And of course, Sam's like, no problem. Like, we'll go, we'll do it, we'll make it happen. And Sam turned up at my house on the Monday at about 6 a.m. And the van that had all the gear in it was a manual van. So of course, I'm in plaster on crutches. So I hand Sam the keys, and Sam looks at me and goes, I can't drive this thing. So I had to go wake my mum up and say, Mum, can you drive Sam and I around all these schools today? And of course, Mum's amazing, and she said yes. And anyway, so I had my leg on this side of the dash, and Sam had his leg on this side of the dash, and Mum's driving us to these schools, and it was an awesome time. But that was 10 years ago, so Sam's definitely getting old. But no, I really am grateful to Sam and Kate. They've believed in me unbelievably. And, I haven't really identified myself, or seen myself as a speaker, but Sam did. I didn't really think that I had a story that anyone cared about, but Sam did. And I think you can all relate to that. So that's really why I'm here. I believe in what you guys are doing. I believe in Sam and Kate, and I'm just so grateful to them as mentors and as friends. So I'm going to share a bit about my story. And, it's kind of my hope that while I share my story, you kind of reflect on your story. I don't think today I'm going to help you be a better speaker. I don't think today I'm going to be the best speaker here, but I do believe I've got a story that's different. And I hope that you can draw something off it. And I hope that today matters to us. And, I didn't come from a rich family. My parents, they grew up in government housing. Mum and dad both quite poor, but when they got together, they decided that their kids wouldn't have a life like that, that they'd fight for their marriage, they'd fight for their children, and they'd parent with intent. And thank God that they did. My sister and I grew up in an amazing home. Not a wealthy home, not a rich home, but an amazing home. And if that's the only thing you take from today, I think that's enough. But my parents didn't let Sheridan and I, my sister, miss out at all, even though I had a very expensive hobby, which was motorcycling. And I was obsessed with the motorcycle. From before I could even remember, I'd be nagging my dad, when can I learn to ride that bike? And my dad said to me as a young fellow, he said, Brad, you can learn to ride the motorcycle as soon as you've mastered the BMX. He goes, you've got to master the BMX, and then I'll give you the motorcycle, you can learn to ride. So my goal became for that year to master that BMX and prove to Dad that I was ready for the motorcycle. And actually in our family, goal setting was a huge part of growing up. Every New Year's Day, Mum would sit us down and she'd get us a pad and we'd write down all the things that we've done and achieved for the year past and all the things, the goals, the vision for the year ahead. It's kind of culture in our family to sit down and be intentional about where we put our energy and time. And we got obsessed with that. And of course, my goal for that year was to prove to Dad that I'd mastered the BMX. So you can imagine I get home from our family camping trip where we've set our goals and we set up for the year, and I'm desperate to ride this dirt bike, and I'm thinking, how on earth am I going to prove Dad that I'm ready? And I'm thinking, and I saw that our driveway is quite steep, and then we have a flat area and then another sort of slant down. I thought if I get our little ramp, come down on the bicycle and jump the ramp, Dad will be like, I'm ready. And I thought, just to prove that I'm ready, I'm going to get my 4 cousins and I'm going to lay them in front of the ramp. So you can imagine ambitious young Brad pedaling that bicycle down that hill, and my cousins, I don't know if they're believing or naive, I'm not sure. But thank God no cousins were hurt. Actually, I have a photo here to show you guys. Oh, we've lost it here. I do have a photo somewhere. So that is definitely my favourite cousin on the end there. But no, I learned to ride the motorcycle, and the motorcycle became a huge part of my life. It became a teacher for me, really. Everything I learned as a young bloke really somehow related back to my ambition to become a great motorcyclist. And that was my vision, to work out how to become, a high level or a professional motorcyclist. As a 10, 11, 12, 13-year-old, I was obsessed with that. But as I got a bit older and I started to get a bit better, I also became more aware that my sport put huge pressure on our family, especially financially. Again, Mum and Dad weren't rich by any means, but they worked their butts off so my sister and I never missed out, and we didn't. But my sport was also a lot of travel, and I just started to get hungry to work out how am I going to make this sport into something that can be my passion, but also my platform and my pathway. And it got a bit better, a bit older, and Mum and Dad started to acknowledge that, maybe we'll have a bit of a crack at this. And when I was 13, Mum and Dad sat my sister and I down and said, we're going to go on our first family holiday. We're going to load up our little white Ford Econovan. We're going to drive from Launceston in Tasmania, where I grew up, catch the Spirit of Tasmania to Melbourne, then we're going to drive to Sydney, and we're going to have a holiday, going to have an adventure. And you can imagine my sister and I are so excited. We're going on a holiday, and The day that we're loading all our stuff into the van, we're putting our clothes and all our, just everything you want to take on a travelling road trip. And Mum came down and she said, Brad, while we're in Sydney, the Australian junior motocross titles are going to be held. And she goes, Brad, so put your bike in the van, you're going to be racing the nationals. So now you can imagine. I am pumped and scared. But we put the bike in and we headed up towards Sydney. And there's 800 kids who race at the Australian junior motocross titles. So you can imagine how many bikes and vans and trucks and people. And I'm fresh out of Tasmania where there's 50 people who turn up to the biggest race event. And we drive in our little white dented Econo van, and we get parked next to this kid. He's got a semi-truck laid out here. He's got 6 brand new dirt bikes in front of it. He's got a nutritionist. He's got a mechanic. He's got a fitness coach. We park next to Richie freaking Rich. And here we are, and I'm just walking through the pits, just drooling, just so intrigued with how do these people have what they have? Because my parents worked their butts off. They couldn't have physically worked an extra hour in the week. We didn't have that. And we were under a lot of pressure. And it was a massive stretch to get there. And I was so curious. I said, Mum, how on earth, how do they do this? And Mum taught me a lesson that sparked me and stuck with me. She said, Brad, these people don't have what they have because they worked harder than us. These people have what they have because they've worked smarter than us. And I thought, Mum, that's a good one. I thought I'd get obsessed with how do I work harder at becoming smarter? What do I need to do to become the person that I want to become? My parents were amazing at facilitating that. I'd read Rich Dad, Poor Dad overnight. We'd listen to Tony Robbins on the way to school. We got obsessed with how do we become the version of ourselves that we want to become. And again, I got a little bit older, I got a little bit better, and I decided that I wanted to turn motorcycling into that business, into that platform, into something that could be my passion, but also be my pathway. So I thought I'm going to have to get ready to pounce when opportunity comes my way. And isn't it important to be prepared to pounce? So I thought I've got to get smart, that's for sure, and got obsessed with learning and reading and that type of thing. But also thought I've got to save some money up. So as a 13-year-old kid, I got, just into anything I could to save some money up. Mowed lawns for all the old ladies in the street, and I still love that because they paid in both money and food. And they still bring the food today. I sold posters on eBay. I had anything I could do entrepreneurially. I sold these posters, I imported calculators, and this was my favourite one. Because in our high school, the year that I was in grade 8, the school hadn't found out what a graphics calculator is yet. You guys know a graphics calculator is pretty much a computer. So me and my best mate worked out that we could pre-program the answer to the maths tests in the calculator and then sell them to all the kids at school at twice the price. And we sold out. And our school had unbelievable results that year. So just do whatever I could to save some money up. You might see me get teased. I pushed trolleys for Woolworths. And actually, they asked me to go on a TV ad a few years ago. And they wanted to talk about people who'd got their start at Woolworths. And I did this 20-minute TV ad just talking nice, general, safe stuff. And then as I was finishing, I was taking my helmet off and talking to Mum, who was in the room too, and said I forgot to tell them that I was the Australian trolley pushing champion. And that's the only bit they put on the TV ad. So I'm the self-proclaimed Australian trolley pushing champion. But just did whatever I could to get prepared to pounce for when opportunity came my way. Get smart, get ready, get mentors, get some money ready, and then wait for that opportunity. And isn't that the hardest time? When you feel like you're ready, you got the vision, everything's coming together, but you just haven't quite found that platform. That's a big thing we're going to talk about today. I hope it's we talk about, but a major between our platform and this room, people like my ambition. One of the biggest risks we have is that we mix our platform and our purpose up. And maybe that can come up in Q&A, but I had to what's opportunity about it to my and waited and then saving a function of our sport. And I was so excited. It was smaller bikes. It was kind of like BMX on steroids. So all the American guys would buy kids' bikes and then hot them up to make them strong enough for adults. And while I'm getting pumped on this sport and seeing all my racing idols were doing this for fun, and like everyone who was anyone in motorcycling was getting into this new type of riding, I thought that's so cool. And then this new event came out, which was the world title for super light motorcycles. So they're going to hire out a stadium in Las Vegas and have like BMX type track where all the professionals could come and race this. And as an amateur, you could pay to go and race against your childhood heroes. I was so pumped. And while I'm watching this and reading this, I made two massive decisions. The first one was that I was going to do whatever it took to get myself to America to race as soon as I turned 21. And I was 16, so I had a few years to worry about getting to the States. But the second thing was that I thought that this type of motorcycling could be used to make our sport more accessible and more affordable, so more people could experience and be involved in what I love and our family loved about motorcycling. So I became obsessed with that. Now, how am I going to find the bike? The bikes in America were custom built. They were worth 10 or 15 grand. It took a long time to build. You had to have a lot of knowledge. We wanted to get something that was ready to go off the showroom floor, was fully affordable and could still compete with that quality. So I did some research, and same thing you got to do to research any product. And I'm emailing, I'm calling, I'm finding a supplier, and I finally found this guy in China, and he promised me that he could build a bike that could compete with the Americans but be affordable. So I got excited again, and I transferred my money across to the other side of the world to a Chinese company I still can't pronounce the bloody name of. And I waited for 8 weeks for my first 10 bikes to arrive. And that's the most exciting time in business, I reckon. When you've got the seed, you've got started, it's all upside. There's no problems at that point. It's all vision. And I waited for those 10 bikes, and they finally turned up at my house. And of course, I didn't have a warehouse, so the truck has to turn up at our residential address. And because I didn't have a warehouse, I also didn't have a forklift. So truck driver had to help me get all these bikes off his truck and drag them down our driveway. And I got 10 boxes lined up with my motorcycles in them. And I'm so excited. I've made the brand to be black with magenta, so it could be different, totally unique. And I'm so excited to show my family and my friends and see it myself of what we've been working on. And I open the lid on the first box and I look in, and it's a yellow motorcycle. These motorcycles are not what I'd ordered, and over the next few days I realised the bikes that turned up were nothing like the bikes that I'd ordered, nowhere near strong enough for adults to ride on the racing and everything that we had planned. And our real vision and mission was to help young people to get a clean adrenaline rush through movement, through motorcycling, rather than from drugs, crime, violence, and some of the evils of our world. So I was so excited. We had tracks set up, coaches organised, events planned, everything that now we couldn't do. I had to find the right owner for the right bike. They were only good enough for 5-year-old kids to ride. So by the time I'd done the websites and the marketing and everything you got to do to find the right home for the right bike, it took a year to sell those first 10 bikes. And I lost all my money. I lost a year. I was pretty beat up, but I hadn't lost the vision. And I kind of felt possessed by this vision. But if this is going to happen, if we are really going to make a motorcycle that's affordable, accessible, but could compete with the Americans, then I need to get myself on a plane and I need to go to China and meet the factories face to face and find someone to partner with me. And I decided I'm going to do that the day I turn 18. So I had about a year to save up. Just all the things I did before, save, save, save. And the day I turned 18, I booked my ticket to China, and man, I was so naive. Isn't naive ambition a beautiful thing? Never been outside of Tasmania without mum or dad. Never been to China, sure as hell couldn't speak Chinese. And also I had quite a she'll be right attitude in that I thought I'll book my accommodation and everything, interpreters, once I get to China. So you've got to picture me, an 18-year-old kid with a peroxide blonde mullet, a hooded jumper. I turn up at Hong Kong airport and, it's still pretty Western in Hong Kong. There's brands you've seen, a lot of people speak English, but I had to catch a bus and a train 3 or 4 hours into southern regional China to the motorcycle manufacturing district. And I got there and I got off this bus and I realised the world's biggest trade fair was being held in this city the time I had to go there. There's 2 million visitors going through the city. So there's no accommodation anywhere. and no interpreters, and I don't speak a word of Chinese. So I'm way out of my comfort zone at this point. And thank God I met this guy who offered to be my interpreter, and he took me for 2 weeks. And he said to me, "Where do you need to go? What's the plan here?" And I said, "We're here to find a manufacturer. I want to go to as many factories as we could find. And then on the last day, which was the 14th day, I want to go back to the best factory, and we're going to choose to do business with them." And he said, "No worries." I said, "How many factories are here?" He said, "There's a lot." He said, "There's over 500 registered. There's probably 800 total." I said, "No worries." So we set the calendar up like the Amazing Race. Bus here, plane there, train there, taxi there, fly there. Like, we were just like in and out type thing. Breakfast meeting, morning tea, lunch, afternoon tea, dinner. Sometimes 2 or 3 factories at a time, like getting them to pitch us. This was the vision we set up. And I remember driving to the first factory, and man, that's a nerve-wracking experience. All this stuff finally coming to the point where I get to interview the factory. Because remember, I'm there to see as many factories as I can to choose which one we're going to do business with. And I get to this factory, and as we're driving into the driveway, I realised I had no idea what a motorcycle manufacturing plant looked like. Never seen one. Not a Google, not an image, nothing. And this one here was 4 stories. It produced 16,000 motorcycles per month. And I had to go to the top floor to meet the owner, who was a shorter Chinese man. And he came out and he shook my hand and couldn't see fingers from all the gold rings on his hand. Had this massive desk, really intimidating. Had 2 interpreters with him and my interpreter, and I sat down and I shared the vision. Spoke about how we weren't just trying to build a motorcycle for the sake of motorcyclists, but to create new motorcyclists. Shared the vision behind it all. Talked about the components and the frame and the chassis and what we were trying to do. Then at the end of it, he stood up and he slammed his hand on the desk and he goes, "I love it." Of course, in Chinese. He goes, "I love it." He goes, "How much money do you have to invest?" I was like, "I have no money." He goes, "So you have no money?" He goes, "What's your distribution channel?" He goes, "How many units can you guarantee to sell and buy for us over the next 2 years?" And I'd never heard of the term distribution channel. He goes, "So you got no money, you got no distribution network." He goes, "What's your engineering experience? How are you going to engineer the motorcycle for our factory?" And of course, I had no engineering experience. So he laughed me out of the office. He goes, "We're not willing to take a risk on an 18-year-old kid who's got no money, no engineering experience, no idea how he's going to sell the bike." And in fairness to him, an 18-year-old kid who was so naive that he had no idea how much it cost to produce that bike. And just for the plastics, like the guard on a motorcycle, the front and rear guard and the petrol tank, just for the plastic components, before you actually get to touch a bit of plastic for the molds and for the designs, was over $1 million for this bike that I'd dreamed up. And I'd pitched that we'd build 7 versions. So of course the second factory, the third factory, the fourth factory, the 5th factory laughed me out of their office. And you guys know what it's like. When you've got a vision, you've got a dream and you get laughed out of the office, you kind of got 2 options. You can listen to it and adjust, or you can listen to it and go back. And I knew that I could come home to Tasmania and people would congratulate me for giving it my best shot and stepping way outside of my comfort zone and doing all this different stuff and having a big vision and chasing after. I knew that people would congratulate me and encourage me in that. But I didn't go to China to come home and be congratulated for trying. I went to China to find a motorcycle, to build a motorcycle and to come home with a motorcycle. And I said to my interpreter, "How many factories are there actually here?" And he goes, "I reckon there's 800. I said, "Well, we're not going home until 800 of them have laughed us out of their office." And my interpreter said, "Okay." And we went to the 10th factory, the 20th factory, the 30th factory. I think my interpreter started to think I was mad at the 40th factory, the 50th factory. They got laughed at over 50 factories. And fair enough too, I was so naive, had no idea what I was doing, just having a real red hot crack. And I think that persistence pays. You guys would relate to that so well in your business. I think it's so important to understand sometimes there's so many no's on the way to the yes that we need. And that's a massive lesson I learned through that. And thank God we stuck to it, because the plan that I had definitely didn't work. But who would have thought that I'd run into 2 young French guys, not at a factory, not at a trade store, just run into 2 young French guys who were just a touch older than me at the time. They'd just moved from France to China with financial support from their wealthy families and had one dream: to build a unique motorcycle. They had a factory, they had a production line, they had everything but the vision. They needed someone to partner with to make the bike, someone to partner with to work out how to sell the bike, and they decided to take a risk on me. Isn't it amazing how the perfect partners sometimes just fall into our lap when persistence is the payment we make? Thank you. Thank you. That was naive ambition. I don't think it was unbelievably honourable at that point, because there was not a lot to lose other than full going for it and the hustle. And, I have a bit of a caveat on that story, because I think that in this room, in an ambitious room, that the risk is not how hungry we are. The risk is not, are we going to be successful? The risk is actually, what are we willing to sacrifice to become successful? And I just really want to remind that. These days when I tell the story, I want to remind you that you're first a husband or a wife, you're first a mother or a father, and you're thirdly a worker. I see so many people at self-help, business, speaker type events that their career is unbelievable, but their home life is horrible. So I say that with a massive caveat that I believe in order. I believe in the hierarchy of you're first a son or daughter, you're second a husband or wife, you're third a mother or father, and then you're a worker, or however that works out in your life. But, for me, there's been a lot of success come from that Brap story. We had a lot of awards, we had a lot of accolades. My book got published. I had over 100 speaking events per year, fully paid. It was going amazing. We won the world title, that race that I told you about in Las Vegas. We become the first production bike in history to win the world title, and we won it twice. We had dealers right around the country, over 45 dealers. We had distributors in America, Europe, people in Southeast Asia taking our bikes to their country to distribute. Unbelievable amount of success. It felt like for me, everything in my worldly vision board was coming true. And everything was moving in that right direction, making great money, and then we raised money on top of that to just strengthen our position. But then great challenge came on us. And I share this today really vulnerably because I think it's so important that if we're going to celebrate our success, we talk about the struggle to get there. And this is where I think it's so important to differentiate between our purpose and our platform, because you guys are going to be tested on this stage and by having a profile. You guys are going to be tempted by having this stage and this profile. And above all else, you're going to be trusted. So it's so important to make sure that your life is built on order so your word can be trusted. And for me, I've had unbelievable challenge. We had allegations made against us legally by competitors to the police. They picked it up, they wrote media releases, this was 3.5 years ago, and they absolutely shredded our credibility. We had over 45 dealers that we had to just let go because we were restricted while they went through the legal process that took 3 years. We had 35 staff we had to lay off. Unbelievable challenge. They were threatening us with jail, they were calling us all these things in the media, and we still haven't given any defence in the media. I don't normally talk about it unless it's a private location like this type of thing where it's not media driven. And I just think it's so important to remember that the better you get, the more challenge is going to come your way. The better you get and the better your message gets, the more of an attack the enemy is going to have on you. And it's not logical. Our challenge, we didn't have this on our SWOT analysis, on our strategic planning, on our vision boards. This was not a logical attack. I think it's so important to put that in perspective, that that's going to happen in your life in some way. I hope it doesn't happen as intensely as our way, but it is going to happen. You are going to be attacked. You are going to be challenged. I think it's so important to build your life on purpose, not on the platform that you are to deliver your purpose through. Because it will come and go. It will be pruned and prospering. My motorcycle business has gone up and down massively over the last few years. We've been challenged. And praise God, we did survive. Only 2 weeks ago, we finished our legal case. We defended ourselves. We cleared our name. Thank you. Thank you. And it doesn't feel like a celebration. It feels like we've been bruised and we've been battered and we've been beat down. And we had to work out how to get through. But I think it's so relevant to anyone who's having a crack in Australia, anyone who's having a crack and going somewhere, that you will probably have an attack come your way. So how are we going to prepare for that? And I believe that identity precedes purpose. Your purpose has to be driven out of your identity. I believe the future of profit is aligned to purpose. It's so pointless to be a speaker for the sake of attention or profit. So pointless to build a motorcycle business for the sake of growth or profit. I believe that the business and your stage up here and your microphone and your platform has the greatest ability to influence our society. And I think business owners, entrepreneurs and leaders have the greatest ability to do that. Look at our motorcycle profits we can, people we can, events we can influence with, our property we can, promotion we can influence with. It's so important for us to be responsible for the people that are put in front of us. And that's where I believe that it's even more important for us to differentiate between our platform and our purpose. You know, through all this time, I kept just asking the question on what's the point in all this stuff? What's the point in all this challenge? Why do we have this great business that's been so attacked? And all I could come back to is who's the person in front of us? Who we're responsible for? And the more we got to fall in love with our customer and the purpose that this platform could be used for that customer, the more we realised that the average customer that comes to us is a 15 or 44-year-old male. They come to us because they see the motorcycle as freedom, as an escape, and then they find some identity in that motorcycle. And we don't believe that's the full truth or the best way to live your life. We believe it could be a band-aid, but this person that comes to us is the highest risk human in the country. Look at statistics of 15 to 44-year-old males, suicide #1 killer. We live in Melbourne, the most livable city in the world, where antidepressants are the second highest intake in the world. There's things wrong here, and these people come to us. So we had to constantly ask, what's the purpose? What's the point? How are we going to get through this? And I've got a few questions to ask you guys you can write down and think about, because I believe if you're given a platform like this, as I said, you're going to be tested, you're going to be tempted, but most importantly, you're going to be trusted with a community to speak to. And I believe it's important to make sure that we have a clean identity as we fulfill the purpose that we've been given. The first question to make sure I don't have an identity crisis that I had to wrestle with is, who's above all? That's an important wrestle to have and an important question to wrestle with. Who's above all? You are going to be tested. You are going to be tempted. And with this platform, you're going to have to make sure your beliefs are deeply rooted in something that is fact and true, not just emotional, experience-based and convenient. That's a massive wrestle to have when you get attacked. For me, it's only by the grace of God that we could survive all that challenge, and through having a defender and a saviour and being so full of hope and joy while we got challenged was only through my relationship with Jesus that I could do that. But every man has to wrestle that question. Every woman has to wrestle, who's above all? The second question is, who's above you? Now this is an interesting one, I think, because especially in this room, we have the guru age. You have someone to teach you about this, you have someone to teach you about this, you have someone over here, but I'm saying, who are you truly submitted to, who's willing to give you truth and love, not just pump your tyres up to encourage you? That's a massive weakness in rooms like this where we're all ambitious, because we love the hype, we love the pump up, but who's above you? Who's truly the person speaking truth into your life? The next one is, who's below you? Who's drawing from your life? Who are you training up? Who are you teaching up? Who are you influencing? The next one's, who's around you? So important, proximity. I do a thing called our proximity list, which is every couple of months, Madeline and I sit down and we work out who are the people that we've got to get around, go and have a coffee with, we've got to go and have dinner with, we've got to get around to learn what they're doing to play our game at a higher level. So who's around you? We also do that with friends as well. Like, who are our friends that we just love, even though they don't know our business, they're not on this journey with us, but they're just beautiful friends that just love us. We needed that so much through challenge. So the question is, who's around you? The next one is, who's in you? Like, what's your gifting and what's your personality? What's the individuality that you've been given? I think it's so important to play to the way we've been designed. And the next one's, who are you? Which is really a character question for me. If you look at history and study the great moves in history, the great moments in history, most of the time through history you can study it back to one man or one woman who had an absolute moral line that they wouldn't cross. They had absolutes. Their character was so strong. I think that's so important for us as we're trusted with this stage. Who are you? What's your character? The other one's, who's against you? This is one that I think is important. Doesn't mean we want to attack them. I think on our stage it's even more important to know who's against us so we can somehow make sure that we don't get in these battles. Like us, we had this massive battle with a competitor. I wish that 3 years before I saw this coming, I had known that had identified that they were against us, and that we could build bridges and we could somehow have, a mutual and healthy competition and work in forgiveness, not attacking each other. And I think if you can answer those questions and wrestle those questions out, then your risk of having an identity crisis and therefore a purpose crisis is highly alleviated. And I really encourage you guys to align your profit to purpose. For us, we've had to do that. We've had to get so serious about what's next, and we're building a thing called Block 53. And that is that we identified that this person that is our biggest customer, 80% of our customer is that 15 to 44-year-old male. But where do they go? Where does this person go when challenge comes on and when prosperity comes on? And most of the time, males like that get together and their recreation doesn't end in righteousness, actually the opposite. So we felt responsible to build a place where righteous recreation could bring men together through motorcycling and gym classes and boxing and having a beer tasting session and having a coffee. We're building a facility where all this can happen. It's a social enterprise where we can donate the space to this social enterprise called Block 53, and our business could play one role in it. So our motorcycle business is unapologetically commercial and has no other agenda, but the social enterprise has a much deeper purpose. So my question I'll leave you on with that is, I hope that your speaking is one part of a much bigger puzzle, much bigger pie that you play. I feel like this is a great platform and a platform that can't be ignored. But what's the structure? What's the organisation that you can tap into to make sure that your profit is absolutely aligned to purpose? Thank you guys for having me.
Sam Cawthorne here, CEO and founder of Speakers Institute. If you give me 60 seconds of your time, I'll show you how to set up an online webinar in 48 hours while growing your authentic followers to tens of thousands, and then teach you how to package your IP so they buy your programs online using what we call influence on video. What this means is you talk to camera, share your value, and then stack your offerings and create urgency in a way that makes it so irresistible that they click the button and purchase your high ticket sale. Talk with any of our clients globally, and I promise you will not find anyone that does what we do. All you have to do is to create an online event, share your ideas, and then stack your offerings just like this. And here's the big secret. Everyone is online right now searching for people just like you to help them learn things that you already know. There are people doing it right now, but they probably don't know as much as you. So right now is your chance to learn how to sell online, and my influence on video formula is easy to use and foolproof for anyone to master. Just recently, I did a 1.5 hour video online to only 40 people, and at the end, 10 of them bought my $4,000 product, all by one click of the button. It was seamless. So if you want me to show you how to influence on video, stack your offerings that make it irresistible, learn my exact script so you can come across authentic and real, and create urgency so then they buy immediately, then click on the link below and join my free masterclass.
Share, how good the feeling was after completing the session, and I think the feedbacks were just too good. So that is forcing me to think beyond. I think it was pretty linear thinking earlier, and now it is pretty diversified. So that is very helpful.
Thank you, Charlene, Christiane, and Sam, for obviously the benefit and the inspiration you've given to so many of us, and to all the participants, because I think for me personally, this is the first time I've felt that I've been in such a safe space to be vulnerable and to make mistakes. And I know that a lot of us have shared some really traumatic events in our life, possibly for the first time publicly. So that's just been a really huge thing. So thank you for everyone for opening up, and for people to open up and be authentic.
I'd like to firstly acknowledge you, Sam. Thank you so much for instituting the Speakers Institute, and all of the lovely people who've attended today. I think they've done an absolutely wonderful job. I think all of their stories are worthy of stage presence. I think you'll all go very far.
I just wanted to say, being out of the workforce for 6 years, looking after little kids, and this is the first course I've ever done. and it was astounding. It blew my mind. It was beyond my expectations. And thank you, Kate, for the feedback today. That was brilliant, and it's given me the confidence to back myself, because I didn't have that before. Because you know, when you leave for a while and you come back, it's all a bit dodgy. So thank you.
And it was really an experience which I was looking for, to give that push, the last push which is needed, because I'm very low on execution. So your story and your message gave me that push which I really needed. So thank you very much, and also to the fellow participant for bearing with me.
Thank you, everyone. You've all inspired me today, and I want to thank you, Sam, for putting this on, and Christiane and Charlene inspired me to come through conversations we had, and so I'd like to thank her in particular, and got a lot out of it. So thank you, everyone, and thanks for all the lovely comments.
First of all, I would like to say thank you, massive thank you to every single one of you. It was a great company. Proximity is power. I'm overwhelmed with all the love and energy and everything else. I've learned so much, and by this sheer circumstances, by now that I'm sitting at home and I actually can do it, I'm blown away that I'm actually doing it. It's amazing.
And I really want to thank you, Sam, for this amazing course.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank every single one of you, especially you, Sam, and all of the mentors as well. There can be at times where we're alone. We think we're the only ones, we feel like we're the only ones going through that, and to share would be to burden each other. But in a space like this, it actually brings us closer together. So thank you very much for sharing all your stories, and thank you for the opportunity.
I'd actually just like to thank Sam and the team so much for everything you've done, but I'd really like to thank everybody else. I have learnt so much from all of you. It's just been so exhilarating. I'm so excited for each and every one of you, because it's just, the growth in such a short space of time has been phenomenal. So thank you all very, very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It has been absolutely awesome. I've learned a hell of a lot today, and I really feel like we're all improving. So thank you so much. It's been really awesome.
I wish everyone all the best on the course. I think it was a wonderful course. And Sam, you've created an amazing business, but I also want to congratulate the people you've got working underneath you, because it wouldn't be that great if you didn't have all this wonderful resource, and I congratulate them for supporting you. It's excellent.
Thank you very much. All the feedbacks were golden for me. I learned a lot. Plus, how I should not try to put all the information in those 6 minutes. I should let the audience absorb what I'm trying to convey. They should absorb my story, and so as the energy level should fluctuate properly at the right moment. So thank you very much for that.
So I want to say, look, I've forever been doing courses and programs. I've probably spent over $350,000 in my life. This was worth every cent. I'm very, very impressed with the level of knowledge of the coaches. And they just kept offering gold nugget after gold nugget. Definitely was worth every minute as well. Yeah, I really want to thank the coaches, and I've noticed a difference in everyone as well over the last couple of days as well. So thanks.
Guys, I just wanted to say my work relies on face-to-face workshops, speaking at conferences around the world. So investing in this course is really about looking to the future. So it's really an investment in the long term. It's been a really, really professionally put together course. So commendations all round to all of you.
To all the staff from Speakers Institute, you guys have been really supportive and really, really lovely and encouraging. But to everybody else, for all of your honesty and your courage for stepping up here and just giving all, because I've learned so much from every single one of you, and it's just been really, really good. Thank you.
My name is Sarah Cordonat, and a long time ago, I was one of the proteges. Now, back then, I had absolutely no idea where I was going to go. I was an expert in my field, but I was working very much in the corporate space. I also had no followers on any social media accounts. I had no email list. I had no people anywhere on a database that was out there in the public market. but I knew that I needed and wanted to get out, get online, and make a difference to the world. And I knew that the only way I'd be able to do that is to go out and start speaking, putting myself out there as an individual. And it was really confronting because there's all these kind of things that we go through. Will people like me? Will people engage with me? Will anyone even care about what I have to say? Will people mock me? Will people criticize me? Will I be torn down by my competitors or trolls? So I had all of these worries, like everyone else does, not knowing where I was going to start. You know, do I start with the logo, the website, the message, the thing, the branding, the story? It's all very, very overwhelming. So I want to reassure you guys that I was absolutely there. After going on Sam's Pro, I have gone on to win multiple awards. I have now got over 20,000 students in 146 countries. I have been listed by the Huffington Post as one of the top 50 must-follow female entrepreneurs. I've published 12 books, 5 of which have gone to international #1 bestseller. I recently was headhunted by a university and now hold the record for being the youngest university director in Australian history. And I have done all of this from working in the spare bedroom in my house. I now have a multi-million-dollar education company with children running around. And one of the things that I really want to make clear to other people is that everyone can do this. Every single person. I had no special starting point. I had no investors. I've never had anyone give me money. I absolutely have just started on the corner of a kitchen table with nothing but a dream, a drive, and an ambition. And that is the only thing you need to get started.
Before I came to Speakers Institute, I was a bookkeeper and was not very good with my communication skills. I chose to join Speakers Institute so that I could improve my skills at communication within my environment. The Speakers Institute has enabled me to get out of my own way and improve my communication skills both within a network environment as well as in front of an audience. Today, if you lived past 90, this would be a medical miracle. So I wonder if we were to incorporate some of these ancient medical ideas into our modern day society.
Now it's your job to get onto the speaking circuit and be a regular at conferences because you have the credibility to absolutely cut through and be heard.
This is the Celebrity Authority Show. Please welcome your host, Sam Cawthorne.
Hey, welcome to the studio. I'm super excited. In today's show, we have Simon Caruso, direct from Adelaide in South Australia. Simon, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Sam.
Simon, you are a property expert and coach, and obviously now helping other people as well. Just a very quick question: how do you think the property market is going right now?
Well, it depends who you talk to. Back home in Adelaide, it's gone really well. Sydney has come down a little bit in prices over the last probably 6 to 12 months, just stabilised a little bit. But overall, I think that there's going to be plenty of growth still. Yep.
And you know the old saying, there's no better time than right now to get into the property market. Yeah. Do you agree with that?
I think so, yeah. I think too often we wait, and we wait and we wait and we wait, and we're waiting for that perfect time. What I've learned is that money in property can be made in up times and down times as well.
Wow.
So, yeah.
And that's a really good lesson for it. Look, I'm really keen to understand some of your secrets, if that's okay. But before we do that, Simon, tell us a little bit more about your story. You seem like a young bloke to already be in the property market. Yeah. What's your story?
Okay, so I'm a first-generation Australian. I grew up in Adelaide, in the northern suburbs, so that's probably equivalent to the western suburbs here. Right,
in Sydney, yep.
In Sydney, yeah. I'm first generation, so mum and dad came from Italy, and they taught me to work hard, to work really hard, and I watched them work and exchange most of their time away. And
so work for money, yeah.
They work for money, yeah.
Time equals money.
Yeah, so they basically, they spent a lot of time at work, and I could see that from a young age, that hard work, as important as it wasn't the answer on its own. And so I knew from probably my early 20s that I had to find a way that I could actually, leverage and create some wealth, because I didn't want to have to go through the same struggle as well. So, yeah.
Wow, that's a really obviously a great lesson of it that you. So what did you first initially do? Did you go into investment in stocks, or did you just simply go for your very first property? And how old were you when you?
So I was 23 when I bought my first property, and I used property because I was fortunate at the time. I knew someone. There was a family friend who was a property developer, and I thought, wow, I actually knew someone that was in property, and so I had a good chat with him first, and
got the right advice.
Got the right advice,
yeah,
and that's the first thing. You got to get the right advice from the right people. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to buy a block of land, and I'm going to build on that land, and I'm going to sell that property. And we worked out that if I did that, then I should be able to make about $60,000.
Great.
And I ended up making $70,000. So when that happened, I thought, wow, I like this. This is pretty cool. And so, yeah, I wanted to keep going and do more.
And then I suppose the rest is history. So obviously now you've got a property portfolio. But now, one thing I love about you, Simon, you've now got a heart to want to help other people in similar mindsets to what your parents were.
Yeah.
Is that right?
That is correct, yeah. So I think we live in a world where people really look forward to the weekend to get away from what they're doing during the week. And look, it's not really.
So they're 9 to 5, Monday to Friday.
You know what? There's nothing wrong with that. I think it's so admirable and courageous to, do the hard yards, supply for your family, and really do right. But I think people don't know. They're not educated on how to actually leverage, how to use their hard-earned dollars to actually put it out there so that they can actually free themselves up a little bit, have some more time to be able to do some of the things that they want to do. So, yeah.
And it's, in a way though, it's easier said than done. You've got a little bit of money on the side, let's go and buy a property. I don't think it's as easy as that, or maybe it is. Tell us, is there a formula for people out there that think either they don't have the right money, or maybe they haven't really done it before? What would you share to some of those people?
Yeah, so look, I would say that every one of you is going to be in a different situation. Okay, so you don't necessarily need your money to start. Okay, now what I mean by that is you need money, but it doesn't have to be your own. And
I like that, by the way, use other people's
you do need
money.
Okay, but it doesn't have to be yours. There's some really skilled people out there that I'm affiliated with, and these people are very, very good at what they do. They're very good property strategists. There's a number of different ways you can do it. There's, property development where you can actually leverage from other people's money. There's ways to take control of property without actually buying property as well. There's ways these days where you don't have to buy property at all. You can make an income from property as a property host. So you can actually acquire a lease, so to speak, and actually rent out a property and do it that way online. So that's sort of the new age way of doing it. And you don't need that much money to start doing that either. You can actually do it with no money as well. So, but yeah, there is really creative ways to do it. And I think if people understand their situation, everyone does have a different level of risk tolerance, so it all does depend on that as well. Yeah.
A big part of your message, you were mentioning earlier on about this Monday to Friday thing, and a big part of your message, I think I remember reading one of your blogs, and it was all about, thank God it's Monday. Yeah. What do you mean by that?
Okay, so what I mean by that is, if you're stuck in a rat race, and you're looking at freeing up more time, use property as that vehicle so you can appreciate every day. So the thank God it's Monday thing was a bit of a tongue-in-cheek thing.
I love it because most people say thank God it's Friday. Yeah. It's a drink o'clock on the weekend. But you're saying it's the opposite. You should be looking forward.
It should be the opposite. You should be grateful for every day. Right. And we all have our ups and downs. Let's be honest. But and if you're listening to this, you're watching this, if you're one of those people who are stuck. Okay, so if that's you, then you need to have a good audit. Have a good look at yourself, and just understand there's people out there that can actually help you move out of that. So, absolutely.
And would you suggest that is the most important thing for you to get the right people around you to, whether it's a coach or mentor or someone that you found to actually give you the right advice? Would you say that's the very first thing?
100%. I mean, look, I'm not that smart in that I could not figure all this out by myself. Okay, so, but I'm smart enough to know that there are smarter people than me. So,
that's good.
Yeah, so I make a conscious effort to get the right people around me. I'm very fortunate that I've got a good team of people around me now. I've got a good legal team, I've got a good accountant, I've got people in property, so other developers, and I just want to leverage this knowledge that I've learned now and pass it on to people who don't know as much as me. So yeah.
Mate, look, I love your heart, and I also love the way that you're now growing this movement of people that, you know, can basically live life on their terms. Hey, what do you do to I don't know, to recharge yourself so you stay focused each and every day? What do you do?
I'm a bit of an introvert.
Okay.
So I love listening to podcasts.
Okay.
Like every day I listen to a podcast.
Well, he's got the podcast voice, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you say? What's your favourite?
My favourite podcast is called the MF CEO.
Okay.
By a guy called Andy Frisella.
And MF is what I think it is?
Yep. It is exactly what you think it is. So yeah, he just gives it to you straight, and it's a personal development podcast as well as a business podcast as well. So yeah, it's just fantastic. Yeah.
Simon, it's been an honour and a privilege to host you here on our show. Great insights and real simplicity he's made, you know, how to really develop your own property portfolio. Simon, look, just before you go, we have this challenge that we do have with all our guests. The challenge is 10 questions in 10-second challenge.
Right,
so Simon, are you up for another challenge?
Let's do it. Come on.
All right, Simon, your time starts now. Favourite colour?
Blue.
Favourite food?
Anything Italian.
Anything Italiano. Favourite celebrity?
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, he's good. Favourite actor?
Sylvester Stallone.
Oh, come on, oldie but a goodie. Favourite professional speaker?
Andy Frisella.
Yeah, he's good. Yeah. Favourite book?
Think and Grow Rich. Changed
Very
my
good.
life.
Yep. Favourite movie?
Rocky IV.
Really? Yeah, of course.
You know, the Russian Drago.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Favourite city?
Adelaide.
Favourite drink?
Drambuie.
Yeah, Drambuie. Yeah, and favourite pizza topping?
Olives.
Olives
Love
all the way?
Yeah.
All right. And Simon Caruso, if you could be an animal, which animal would you be?
An eagle.
Why an eagle?
Just to soar, the king of the sky, and just have a bird's eye view would just absolutely be a fantastic perspective of life, I reckon.
Very good. Thanks again for joining us here on the Celebrity Authority Show. Simon, you're amazing.
Thank you.
Very good.
TENx speaker is the founder and CEO of BioJars. Having enjoyed a varied working life over 3 decades, it's her personal life that has had a profound effect on her. She empowers people around the world with the inspiration and resources to capture life and provoke thinking about legacy. Please welcome to the stage the consulting engineer, no, the teacher, no, the winemaker, no, the sheep breeder, no, the entrepreneur, Suke Ridler.
Your life, changing in a heartbeat. Have you thought about the future of your legacy? From the moment we come into existence, we start to write our life story and build a legacy. There's the ultrasound image, baby photos, that special toy, a lock of hair, preschool photos, art and craft, and there's a lot of that. Learn to swim certificates, our first tooth, school photos, books, merit awards, reports, little athletics medals, winners and losers, netball and cricket trophies, and certificates for all those hobbies we did from grade 1 to when we succeeded. Or we didn't quite get there. And that's just our things. Then there's our memories. With our parents, with our pets, with our school friends, what we did, where we went, the naughtiness we got up to, and we haven't even left our childhood. Throughout life, we collect a whole lot of stuff. We fill albums and files and folders and bookshelves, boxes and cupboards and garages and attics. Then there's our phones and our laptops, USBs, hard drives, uploading to the cloud and social media platforms. And let's not forget the VHS tapes and the floppy disks hidden in the drawer somewhere. As teenagers, we build more memories. As young adults, what we did and what we shouldn't have done. As adults with careers and sometimes families of our own, through to latter life when we tick off things on the bucket list. We gain experience, we build wisdom, and our life finds meaning and purpose that we really want to share. That's an enormous amount of emotional and physical things to manage. So, what is legacy? Well, legacy can be thought of as a gift from the past to the present and the future. We all have a legacy to leave, it's just generally not presented or curated. Memories get lost, things get dispersed amongst the family, sold or thrown away. Devices and technology changes, passwords and accounts get hacked and then deleted. Messages get left unwritten and secrets untold. But with the birth of the internet, we've all become so much more interested in our ancestry. Just imagine future generations looking back at this point in time today. What would you like them to find about you? Legacy isn't hundreds of photos uploaded to Google and Facebook posts intermingled with fake news, cat videos and memes. I'm talking about those memories, those words of wisdom, those thoughts, those feelings that we've collected from birth that define who we are. We have to start thinking about the future of our legacy now because we never know what tomorrow will bring. Before the explosion of the internet in 2003, it was difficult finding any information about anyone. Now there's too much information. The world produces over 2 trillion gigabytes of data daily. We're all leaving a huge digital footprint, both good and bad. But just reflect, if you lost someone today, would you have a complete story of their lives? And conversely, would they of you? It wasn't so long ago that I was being airlifted from the country to the city in septic shock. I had one of those superbugs and my colon was about to explode. My blood pressure and pulse was so low, I wouldn't have survived an operation. So the doctors pumped me full of the most powerful antibiotics on earth, and my family kept their fingers crossed. I remember looking into the nurse's eyes and saying, am I going to die? You see, what was going on through my mind is, oh, I've left everything in such a mess. I haven't written my life story. And worse still, I haven't left messages for my family, particularly for my children when they reach key milestones in their lives. Well, the nurse looked down on me and she said, we don't like to lose people of your age. Well, the good news is it wasn't a yes, but it wasn't a no either. I've also had to deal with some really complex family issues. Losing my dad without discussing his healthcare requirements, that led to an onerous feeling of responsibility. Not being able to find my mum's will and know who the executors were, well, that led to an awful lot of family conflict. And then managing my father-in-law's estate with a shoebox of information, that ended in litigation, which was both costly and time-consuming. Can you imagine any of these happening to your family? Perhaps something has already. There are 5 steps that we can all take to help with the future of our legacy. Collate our information and make both digital and hard copies. Draft or review our wills and powers of attorney. Did you know that 1 in 2 of us don't have a valid will? Decide on our healthcare requirements and draft an advanced care directive and nominate our healthcare proxy. Surprisingly, 86% of us haven't done this. And 4, capture our memories, because we all have a unique personal story to share. And 5, write those messages, including those secrets, so they will help loved ones in a time of grief. So how do we actually do this? And isn't there a wider issue here of privacy, security, and controlling access? From the moment an organisation comes into existence, it starts to gather information and build a client and customer profile. There's addresses, emails, phone numbers, all sorts of dates. The research we do, the stores we go to, online and in real life, what we buy, the rewards we collect. If we have fur babies, the number of kids, our marital status, the size of all sorts of things. If we have insurances, what we don't have, the state of our health, the services we access, the network of friends we all have, what we do, where we go, who we were with. Did you know that apps like Fitbit even know who we're having sex with? You wear one of these, 2 phones in regular proximity to each other. Never before in the whole of history has there been so much evidence on the mating habits of humans. So, what does the future hold for protecting our personal data? Well, we've all heard of blockchain, but it's expensive for storing of data and you can't edit or delete it. On the horizon is Blockweave, which is far cheaper. But with both of these, if an organisation holds 51% of computers, it's not secure. And then there's the phenomenal power of quantum computing and the revolutionary qubit. Who knows what that will bring? But for now, publishing and using our private data and hacking accounts is a serious issue. My aunt's Facebook account was hacked and had to be deleted a couple of years after she died. So if you rely on a profile to remember and reflect on a loved one, take screenshots, because social media accounts are not permanent. So, is there anything out there to make all this capturing of our life and curating our legacy easy? Well, that's why I came up with BioJars. And BioJars is a secure zero-knowledge platform. What would you put in your BioJars? Because it's going to be launched in September 2019. In this world of uncertainty, for 7 billion of us, there is one thing that is certain, and that is we're going to leave a legacy. Capturing our life and curating our legacy is the most important thing any of us can ever do. So, what is your story? What are your wishes? And what are you doing to secure the future of your legacy?
Hi guys, Sam Caruso here, CEO and founder of Speakers Tribe, and I'm super excited about this video. This curriculum video here is all around participate. You know, I believe some of the greatest keynoters on the planet, particular trainers and facilitators as well, not only do they know how to articulate really effectively, but they know how to facilitate participation. You know, I've been in so many events where I've been up on stage and the audience is very cold. They don't know who I am, they're very skeptical, they're leaning back in their chairs and literally they're about to take their phones out because they're already bored, even before I get up on stage. So really the reality is, as professional speakers, as influencers, what we really need to do is grab their attention instantly. So in this video, we're going to be talking about the 3 ways in how to grab their attention, and not only that, for get them involved, so they're leaning forward, so they're participating, so they're taking part of activities, etc. as well. And that way, from there, I'm actually then going to share with you 3 hacks that you can really start thinking about whether you wanted them to participate in short bursts, such as 5 to 20 seconds, if you want to get them to participate in medium bursts, such as 1 to 3 minutes, or even longer bursts, such as 5 minutes, even up to 20, 45 minutes thereabouts, in activities itself as well. So the reality is that my general rule of thumb is this, is that if you are speaking for over 40 minutes, then you do need an activity. I'll say that again. If you are speaking for over 40 minutes, you do need an activity. So then that means then if you are doing training or keynoting over 40 minutes, what activities can you do? There's a few rules around this. The first one is this, is lead by example. Now, my encouragement to you, if you haven't already, get your pens and paper out, even your phones out, your notes, and write some of this down, yeah? Number 1 is lead by example. And what we mean by that is, what do you need to do to actually lead by example when you're on stage? You know, it super frustrates me when I see speakers up on stage. They ask for the audience participation, such as put their hand up, but they don't put up their hand themselves. So I believe if you lead from example, then obviously then your audience will then follow suit. So if you want the audience to lean in, you lean in. If you want the audience to participate, you participate. If you want the audience to put their hand up or do an actual action or whatever it is, you must lead by example. And the reality is that they will always do around 70% energy of what you do. So for example, if you do this, your audience will do this. If you do this, they'll do this. If you do this, they'll do that. If you do that, they'll literally just go like that. So my encouragement to you is, would number 1 be always this, lead by example when it does come to any level of participation and interaction. The second thing is this, is framing. You know, I remember this one time where I was speaking in a jail, and it was one of the major jails down there in Tasmania. And one of the most fascinating things is that when you get up there, they don't want to be there. And in most cases, they're talking with each other and they're big built, and it's quite intimidating to say the least. And the last thing you would believe is that if you're speaking for 90 minutes and you think, how can these people here participate here? How can we get them involved? How can we get them to do an activity? And it was certainly very, very difficult. So number 2 here is all about framing. What I needed to do in that particular situation, I needed to frame the importance of why participate. And not only that, I needed to frame that the people that do participate, these are the people that are brave, that are courageous. These are the people that aren't worrying about what other people think. These are the people here that actually really want to get something out of this, want to learn, want to grow. So in most cases, if I frame it in a way that if you don't participate, then you're scared about what other people think of you. If you don't participate, then you're not brave, then you're not courageous. If you don't participate, then you don't want to learn, you don't want to grow. Then suddenly now the audience, in a way, are feeling a bit guilty if they don't participate. Now, this certainly isn't a guilt thing as such, but it certainly is a really great strategy in order to get your audience to participate where they can. And then the third one is this, identify. And what we mean by that is ultimately, if you want your audience to participate, you need to identify what type of audience it is. Ultimately, if I'm speaking to a bunch of young teenagers, then I'm going to identify, great, these here, they want high level, they want high energy, they want to yell, scream, clap, jump on their feet, high five, etc., etc. Whereas if I'm identifying that I'm speaking in front of a group of CEOs and executives, then these people here are not that prone to jump up on their feet and high five and yell and scream, etc. So really what I need to do is I need to identify exactly which audience that I'm in, and that way then I can identify exactly what level of participation that I can expect from that audience. So my encouragement to you is lead from example, frame how you need to get them engaged, and ultimately then identify what do you need to do to understand who is in your audience and what level of activity or participation would they be more comfortable in doing. You know, one of my keynotes, in my Bounce Forward keynote, I get up and I play the guitar. And then at the end of me playing the guitar with only one arm, it's pretty cool. But then I actually then get everyone up on their feet and sing with me. And I remember in most corporate audience, I've led from example. So obviously I sing first and then my audience sing. I then frame to the audience, hey, look, now you're about to jump up on your feet and sing, and this is all about a breakthrough in your own life. And then obviously, you know, I've identified exactly that this is going to be the right audience. But I once did it in front of a group of CEOs and executives, and it did not go down very well at all. I saw half of the room stand up, I saw one or two people sing, and that was about it. And everyone else felt really uncomfortable. Thus, I also then felt uncomfortable as well. All right. So this brings me to my second element in today's masterclass here, all on participate. And it was all around what exactly are the best activities. So I've broken this down into 3 elements. One is the short, 5 to 20 seconds. The second one is the medium, 1 to 3 minutes. And then the third one here is the long, 3 to 30 minutes plus. So I'm going to unpack all of these as we go along. So the first one here is short, 5 to 20 seconds. My encouragement to you would be to do a short one at least every 20 minutes up to 40 minutes max. And what a short one is could be something like, you know, hands up if, or nod your head if this has happened to you, or turn to the person and give them a high five, or, you know, or look around the room and search for this color, or whatever it is, yeah? So that there's a really, really quick one. So, you know, hands up, or has this ever happened to you? Nod your head if this has, or whatever it is. Or look at the person next to you and repeat after me, or whatever. Yeah, so they're really short exercises. And my encouragement to you would be to get your audience to participate in those in at least every 20 minutes if you're doing a 60-minute keynote. And one of the main reasons is it keeps them awake, keeps them alert. If you're talking for longer than 20 seconds and there's zero interaction, there's zero throwing back to the audience and what is there with them, then ultimately they're going to fall asleep no matter how motivational you might be, or they'll just simply switch off. So that's the first thing. Second thing is this, medium, 1 to 3 minutes. So this is where it is more of an exercise. So this could be something like, okay, stand up and go and high five 3 people. Or it could be something like, you know, stand up if this has ever happened to you, or whatever it might be. Or another one could be something like, turn to the person next to you and ask them this question, bang, bang, bang. I'll give you 90 seconds, yeah? So that is really, really good, quick one. Or the other thing is this, is look around the room and search for anything at all, or what is, or look under your chair and see if you can find. So these are really short ones that, you know, might require just simply standing up or sitting down, talking to the person next to you, but it certainly isn't standing up and walking away from your seat. Because ultimately, no matter how big or small your room is, once you get them to stand up and walk away from their seat, it will take a long time for you to calm them back down, get them back to their seat, sit them back down, grab the energy back in your control, and then start speaking again. So this is still only a medium activity here. I've got a few ones here where I actually get everyone to stand up, everyone turn towards the window, or everyone turn towards one side, put both your hands up in the air very slowly, bring your hands down, and just start massaging the shoulders in front of you. And that particular exercise works really, really well. Most of you guys that have seen me speak, I would have done high five the person next to you, or alternatively, for those people that have actually come along to boot camp, we did an exercise where we went 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1. You know what I'm talking about. So they're always fun as well. And then the other one was obviously your power move. So you stand up and do your power move, yeah? So they're the medium ones. And now the long ones here, so this is anywhere between 5 to 30 minutes. So some really great long exercises that you can get your audience to participate in can be some warm-ups of the room. So what we do in a lot of our boot camps, it's about talking to the person next to you, interview them, and then come up on stage, then actually share with you about this other person that you've just met. Or alternatively, another exercise is go and find someone that actually is the same birthday month as you. Or alternatively, go and find someone who's got the same surname, last letter in, as yours or whatever. So there's a lot of other, so a lot of these activities here could either be group work, or could be working in partnership, or could be to go and find something, yeah? So these are some great activities here. However, again, it is all about those first 3 elements. Lead by example. You must lead from example. So even if you want to show to the audience how this is done, you bring up an audience member and say, guys, this is how it works. Bang, 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 bang. Did you get that? Let's try again. Come up here on stage, bang, bang. So you lead from example. The second one here is framing. So framing is all specifically around what do you need to do to frame this exercise in a way that it's very, very, very clear to them. It's so clear. So sometimes I would literally go, so guys, what I want you to do right now, I want you to get your phone and I want you to turn it on. That's right, turn it on, unlock it, whatever it is. Now I want you to find your Facebook app. So just go, everyone knows what the Facebook app looks like. So you just find your Facebook app. Now go into your Facebook app. Now right up the top there is a search bar. What I'd like for you to type in there is Speakers Tribe. That's right, and this is how you spell it, SPEAKERS space tribe, TRIBE, Speakers Tribe, and then global, GLOB, etc., etc. So this way I'm literally teaching them how to do it, and then I then say, now like that page. Now how you like the page, it's just there on the top, a little bit to the side, just simply like that. That is a great way how we can stay in contact with you. Instead of me saying something like, so guys, what I want everyone to do, go onto Facebook and go onto our page and just like the page. They're not going to do it. They will not do it. So my greatest encouragement to you would be lead by example, always frame the actual activity, explain in absolute detail, and ultimately really identify who is your market and make sure you're communicating in their language. Guys, I really hope that today's curriculum video really gave you value, and please, my encouragement to you would be to go out there and actually try it out, because you're not going to learn anything unless you actually don't implement something like this. So go out there and implement it where you can. For those people that are actually joining Speakers Tribe for the very first time, I wanted to say welcome. It is great to see you. For those leaders that are here in the room, I wanted to say thank you so much for leading your awesome tribe. You're doing an outstanding job. And also, for those people that haven't registered into Speakers Tribe Conference, my encouragement to you is to lean into this proximity. See what you need to do to say, hey, look, I want to be a part of this movement. We believe that we are the incubator for the next generation of influencers in this world. And ultimately here at Speakers Tribe, we're all about helping you make a difference in the world. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what's possible in the next chapter with you once you lean into Speakers Tribe. And as always, don't forget, the best is yet to come. I'll see you soon. Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in for today's episode here at Speakers TV. My name is Sam Cawthorne and we are super excited about Speakers TV and about these episodes that we bring to you every single weekday as well as also on every single Saturday. Guys, we'd love to hear from you. If you've got any feedback at all for us, or maybe you want to comment right now in the chat bar about what was your biggest takeaway from today's session. But also not only that, why don't you join us? So here at Speakers Institute, we do have a number of programs such as our online boot camps or our protege program. At Speakers Tribe here, we're all about running these big, large annual conferences every year, but also not only that, there is an annual membership that you can get where in your city we do have tribe gatherings, all really encouraging you going from where you are today to where you really want to be. Or maybe you want to tell your friends and your family about Speakers TV. But can I please encourage you, why don't you like this page? Why don't you join us each day? Why don't you tell other people about these episodes? Because we are all about really helping you on this journey to becoming that recognized voice of authority, for you to find your message and your story and get that out there into the world. We are super excited about your journey, so please lean in and join us today. To your success, my name is Sam Cawthorn, and don't forget, the best is yet to come.